Get notifications and stay updated every time I post a challenge podcast by hitting the subscribe button. Thank you all and hope you enjoy.
Yeah, me too, bro. I'm such a pacer.
8 sitting.
All right. Joining me now today is he's from the real world Sydney and the challenge, Isaac Stout. Thanks for coming on today, man.
Hola, konnichiwa, and namaste.
Hey, man, you came up quite a bit in request of fans whenever I asked who they wanted to see.
No way.
Yeah, it was pretty
Who I
frequent
am?
for a while. Yeah.
Well, thank you, anybody that wants to see my mug. I don't know why. Thank you.
Yeah, I know you're not one to shy away from, speaking, your piece. So this is something I'm definitely looking forward to doing.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. I think we're going to crush it. This is going to be the best podcast that's ever happened in the history of the known universe. Not podcast, technology, internet, anything that's ever crappier than what we're about to drop right now.
All right, man. So let's talk a little bit about your casting process for,
Oh boy,
because I know that was a bit of trip and a half. So let's hear about it again.
Have you done like research or something?
I've got it under pretty good authority. I had a little bit of a listen, and you talked about it with Derek, and I thought it was quite compelling. So.
All right. So basically, what happened was I didn't have any interest in being on the real world because I didn't know what it was, and I kind of had a view of reality TV at the time. And again, I'm 34 now. I think 34. I'm 34, and I did it when I was 20. So to a lot of these millennials, we're talking ages ago, and reality TV just came out, and I was like, these people look like assholes. Like, I don't want to be that guy. And then, basically, long story short, the girl that I was dating at the time in Arizona really wanted to do it, and she wanted me to go with her to this casting call, and I was like, I don't want to, but she was my girlfriend, so eventually, she's your girlfriend, so she gets to tell you what to do after a while of burning you down. And so I was like, all right, here's the deal. I just came home from the store, and I was listening in my car to the radio station, and they said, hey, the real world casting is coming to a live casting to Arizona, so you guys can get a free front of the line pass if you call in. And so I told her, I was like, all right, here's the deal. You've been bitching at me every day about this, and I will call. Okay? I'll call. And if they say that I don't win the front of the line passes, because at that point in time, this was like, American Idol, where people are, camping outside in tents and doing crazy stuff. It was very intense. And I said, I'll call. If he says no, then it's a no-go, and you got to stop being an asshole. And if they say yes, then I'll go with you, because we get front of the line passes. We don't have to camp. We don't have to do all that stuff. That's a safe bet for me, right? It's like betting against winning the lotto. I call. 2 seconds later, the dude picks up, and he's like, hey, this is blah, 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 blah. Congratulations, you won the blah, blah, front of the line passes. And in order to show up, you got to present your ID, and, you and a +1 get to go to this audition. So I was like, crap. So I won. Unfortunately, I had a DUI at the time. I've only had one DUI, and I was not even drinking and driving. I was smoking weed in my car in the parking lot of my college. And I didn't even intend on driving anywhere. I just wanted to smoke a little bit of weed and listen to the radio in the car. But if the keys are in the ignition, turn the radio on, then you're a drunk driver. So I do not appreciate drunk drivers. Don't think they're cool, but I wasn't one. Either way, I had to go to jail because it's Arizona, and they have a minimum 1 day, 24-hour jail sentence, or I don't even remember what it was, but you have to go to jail. You have to if you get accused and caught. And I was at ASU or U of A. Anyway, The cop, I was a smart aleck. I was a stupid young kid, and I was trying to be cool in front of the cop and do dumb stuff. So I got arrested, and my jail date was the same day as this show up with my ID audition day, which stunk. So me being an asthmatic, which is something until recently I didn't admit because of the challenges, people take advantage of stuff like that. They're like, oh, Isaac's not a good competitor because he gets winded. I'm like, I didn't get winded. I have asthma. It's medical, mother, But
Yeah.
anyway, people like Zack, I'm not going to name names, but people are really, really insensitive to my medical born condition, Zack. And I'm not going to say name, Zack. So anyway, I ran back and forth from my house to the 7-Eleven, just ripping Newport 100 cigarettes, sprinting and running. I induced an asthma attack the day before. I went to the hospital. I had the doctor talk to the judge. I called the judge at like 12 midnight. And I was like, I'm in the hospital. I can't go to jail tomorrow. And the doctor talked to the judge, and the doctor told the judge, yeah, this kid has an asthma attack right now. And so I went to this interview with the chick, and I'm sitting outside, this is so stupid now that I think about it, looking back, because I was sitting outside of the building on a bench smoking Newports still. I already went to the hospital for an asthma attack, and I'm still ripping cigs outside of this building board while the chick goes in and does her interview. And this guy sits next to me and starts talking to me, and we're just shooting this shit and blah blah blah. And he's like, you're a tryout? And I was like, technically, yeah, I'm a tryout, but I'm not down with that reality stuff. And he was like, if you win, or not win, but if you get casted, then pretty much you get paid to go to a location. Could be an exotic location, could be in the United States, but everything's paid for, and you get paid, and you live in basically a mansion with a bunch of attractive young people. And then when you get off the show, your job is kind of to go to bars and nightclubs and get paid to be flown around the country and party. And, when you go to a nightclub afterwards, they have been saying Isaac from the real world is coming here. So every chick that ever saw you on TV and likes you is going to line up. And you just got to show up, get drunk, and get paid. And I was like, you know what? I think it's really time for us to really start rethinking this reality TV stuff, because that sounds real cool, like real cool. So I went in there. I actually did an interview, which I wasn't going to do. They interviewed me. The next day they called me and said, hey, you want to do another interview? And I said, okay. I went and did another interview. And then, 3-4 months later, I hadn't heard anything, so it wasn't even a thing in my mind. And they called me up, and they're like, so, and you could tell it was like a staged call. They're like, how do you feel about if you were to go on the real world? And I was like, no, I'm kind of over it at this point, just fucking around with them. And they were like, wait, are you serious? Isaac, are you serious? I was like, no, I'm kidding. Yeah, why? They're like, whoa, okay. So they reset this recorded phone call, and they're like, I'm not going to tell you where you're going, but here's a hint. There's kangaroos there. And I was like, well, that 100% tells me where I'm going. There is not any, is it Iowa? So that was the whole story. It was kind of adventurous, and usually they're used to dealing with people that are like, oh my God, I have to be on this show. I have to. So I was kind of like, I'm extremely appreciative of everything they've done for me and the exposure and all that stuff. But I'm not that social media type of person.
Yeah.
Personally. I kind of hide a lot, which is not good for me or my business, but I don't really care what you had for brunch or the pictures that you take of it. And I really don't want you to know where I am at any given time. Now, personally, right now, at this point in time, I'm with the hot blonde chick in the kitchen making 2 different pizzas. And yes, by making pizzas, I mean we made the dough from scratch. One of them is a gyro with homemade baba ganoush. No. Yes, homemade baba ganoush, gyro pizza, tzatziki sauce as a base, and the other one is a McDonald's Big Mac base with it's going to be like a Big Mac cheeseburger as a pizza. So that's my introduction. Hello, my name's Isaac Gabriel Mendelmeyer Stout. His name is my name too. What's up?
Wow.
I know.
That was quite the introduction, man. I must say.
Thank you. I'm just thanking you because I'm assuming you mean that in a good way.
Oh, of course. But no, how do you feel about the location going to Sydney? Were you okay with it?
Fuck yeah. Am I allowed to swear, by the way? Do I need to?
Yeah, you're fine.
All right. Yeah, dude. I saw the real worlds I saw. They're like real world Boston, real world St. Louis. I got Sydney, Australia in a mansion next to the world's largest IMAX. Me and Cohutta, who's to this day one of my best friends in the world, were like, fuck yeah, like, come on now. Do I want to be here or in Maryland? But so our real world house was in Darling Harbor, Cockle Bay, which is a huge tourist spot in Sydney. It's like Times Square-esque in Sydney. And it's a huge horseshoe-shaped harbor. And the world's largest IMAX was next door to us on one side. On the other side of us was a McDonald's, which is awesome because we were sponsored by McDonald's and Subway, and we got a whole bunch of free stuff. But the house that we were in used to be a huge, booming, like the biggest nightclub in Sydney. It was 3 levels, and it was huge. And me and Cohutta would sit in this jacuzzi that literally fit a surfboard. It was so big that I used to hold the surfboard in the jacuzzi and Cohutta would sit on it. That's not going to show up on TV because they only like to show effing, like fighting and effing. And me and Cohutta playing darts and playing with surfboards in a jacuzzi was not really that cool for TV. But we had a great time doing it. And one time it was like 4:00 in the afternoon. Me and him are just sitting there drinking beers in our jacuzzi right by the front door, in our bathing suits and hanging out and throwing darts out of the jacuzzi at the dartboard and just not really talking shit or creating drama. So we were out of camera light, and 2 chicks, good looking chicks, walked in the house, and they were hammered, and it was like 4:00 in the afternoon, and they were like, they thought they were walking into the Sydney's biggest bar that they had been to months ago. They didn't know they revamped it into a real world house. And so they just came in, and me and Cohutta, there were no shirts on in our bathing suits. We're like, hey. And they're like, what is this? And we're like, yeah, it's a jacuzzi. Like, come on in. And the chicks took they just stripped down to their undergarments and got into the pool with us. Jacuzzi. Wow. I know. And I was like, this is the coolest damn house in the world. You could just hang out, 2 guys drinking beer in a jacuzzi, throwing darts, and chicks just wander in off the street. Like, hey, we're looking for a party. And we're like, well, you're in luck. You got 2 parties right here. So, the location was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. So now, your 4 of your roommates actually made their challenge debuts on the island, which was a season before yours, where you're basically living on an island, some Survivor type stuff, no mansion, you're all just living there. You had Ashley, Cohutta, Kellyanne, and Dunbar there. So now I'm basically going to ask you, would you have liked to go on that island season, or would you?
Hell no. I mean, first of all, I would never compete face to face with Cohutta on survival wilderness type of stuff. That's just not smart ever. He knows what he's doing, and he's one of my best friends, so I wouldn't compete against him. I don't like competing against him. But second of all, the challenges are fun as shit for maybe like, here's how it goes. You get into the house and you're with 30 people that are all unique casted individuals from all walks of life, from all over the United States, usually the United States. And everyone's crazy and everyone likes to party. And generally speaking, everyone's pretty decent looking. So, hookups and stuff like that happen. Every single night, you have like a week or two before you actually start filming where you just fly in, you see everybody at the airport, and everybody's just partying and having a good time with one another for like 2 weeks. And then the challenges start. And you do 2 or 3 challenges per week, and you got to start competing. And then people start turning up because of airtime. Like, at home, they don't realize how much airtime is important to some of these people. And like I previously said, I'm not huge on airtime. I would rather just get all the perks and the hot chicks and the money and not show up on camera. But to some of these people, they care nothing about the money. They just want to be seen. They just need to have airtime. And here's a good example. When I was in the challenge house in New Zealand, I think.
Duel 2, yeah.
The Duel 2. How do you know this shit more than me? That's not okay. But our house was one level, and we had a pool in the middle of it, and it was just awesome. It was an awesome house. We had a huge spread in the backyard, but everyone was kind of partying in like the kitchen and the living room and kind of outside. And I was like, I'm turning this party up. So I went outside, out of the front door where no one could see me leave. I scaled onto the roof of the house, and then I just sprinted and tried to do a front flip, like a gainer, into the pool. And just as I was doing that, I jumped off the roof into the pool, and I heard all the girls go, "Oh my God, no, Isaac, stop!" And so in my head, I'm like, okay, apparently there are sharks in the pool. Like, as I'm in midair, in mid front flip, over the roof at nighttime, halfway drunk, falling, I have to react to, what are they screaming about? Why are the girls all screaming? I was like, there's sharks in it. There's fucking sharks in the pool, I guess. Or they just cleaned the pool and there's chemicals that I'm going to land in. It's going to burn my eyes out. Or I don't know, there's something horrible about this pool that I'm about to get screwed. I hit the water. I, come out of the water, and the girls go, "You got to tell the cameraman when you do stuff like that." And I was like, oh my God. Like, I just wanted to jump off the roof into the pool. I wasn't doing it because I needed everyone to see me do it. I just thought it would rank up the party to the next level. But that's what these people, and it's not just women, it's men too, they just need that camera time. And at this point in my life, I have a business of my own. And so it is a financial commodity. Like, the more followers you have, the more opportunities you have for sales and money and stuff like that. So yes, being popular on social media and on TV is super cool. But at the time, I just wanted to get drunk and jump off a roof,
Yeah, I feel you. Definitely a little incentive,
Yeah.
So honestly, on the Duel 2, I'd say that, CT and Adam's fight is like basically a big, thing that's remembered from that season. But I have it under good authority on the shit they should have shown edition of Duel 2. Actually, you and CT got into it before him and Adam did.
Oh, me and CT get into it every single time.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about how you and CT on the Duel 2 started. And then after you talk to me about that, kind of, break down him and Adam after that, since you obviously were there.
Everybody always wants to talk about this, and I will talk about it, but my kind of standard is that I'm not down to talk shit. I'm not that reality dude. So I'm not going to say anything offensive to other people. But me and CT we're friends in real life. Like, he comes to Atlanta all the time. We hang out, and his persona on the show is very different than his persona in real life. And when I say that, I'm not talking shit. I'm just saying that in real life, he's super chill, and we just hang out and we do fun stuff. But when we're on the show, he's CT. Everybody knows who CT is. He's a wild man. He's crazy. He likes to fight. And so sometimes it is difficult for me to know what the line is between those two. And so if we're in real life and he says something, I'm like, fuck off. Eat shit. Fuck you. But on the show, if you say that to CT when he knows there's a camera turned on, then he has to defend his reputation, kind of. It's never going to go anywhere. We're never going to fist fight on camera. But, everyone has to show their chest and whatever. And as soon as I'm like, oh, crap. Like, he really is down to physically fight right now on camera, on national TV, with my friends and my parents and my younger cousins watching. I'm not going to do that. So I just kind of was like, yeah, whatever. And luckily, Adam hit him in the face with a Diet Coke can the next day. So our little disturbance didn't become national news. And the funny thing is that Adam should have. I mean, Adam had every right to do that. If you ever watched their season, I'm really good friends with Ace. By the way, Ace, side note, is in Georgia. I'm in Georgia. And Ace is building, he's from the Paris season with CP. There was this crazy hot springs, which is one of the only ones in the United States that's a natural hot spring. And they built this enormous, insane pool out of this hot spring. And I'm talking about Nixon went there like in the 60s. It was like this huge American resort. And then it just went to shit. Ace is by himself rebuilding that resort right now. And I talk to him every week or so, but he spends his time lost doing crazy rebuilding Native American sites in the wilderness. So that's awesome. That was a side note. But he knows CT. CT and me and Ace would hang out all the time, and I really did lose my train of thought of what I was talking about.
Adam and CT.
Yeah, it was before that.
You said that Adam had every right to...
So the reason I was talking to Ace one night, late night, me and him, I'm also a professional muralist and artist, and Ace is kind of the one that one night we were drinking, believe it or not, and he was like, you know how to paint? And I was like, yeah, I know how to paint. And he didn't know what I was talking about, and I didn't know what he was talking about. But Ace built the most gangsterist bachelor pad that's ever existed in the world. He lives under an art gallery, underground in Atlanta. And the front of his, like the way you get in his house is like a graffitied up, horribly looking, shitty wooden door that just looks so criminal that it looks like the door that you would enter if you want to be on a murder investigation show. But when you get in there, it's marble countertops and beautiful art and projector screens and cool stuff. And so he has 3 walls. And late night, he was like, you know how to paint? I was like, yeah. He's like, why don't you paint that wall? And I think he thought I was talking about painting as in like, I'll get up on a ladder with a roller and blue paint and paint the wall. And we can attach it after the video, but I painted the Buddha. And he came back home because he, at the time, owned Flip Flops, the bar. So he went to the bar to manage it, and he came back home, and I had painted a mural on one of 3 sections of this wall. And he was like, what in the living hell did you do? And I was like, I told you I could paint. And he was like, that is insane. Can you paint the other 2? And I was like, yes, absolutely, for a fee. Buddies, we're boys, but come on now. My time's valuable. He was like, I don't care what you want to charge. And so the next one, I painted the Dalai Lama in the same kind of sitting meditation position. And then the next ball out of the 3, he's like, I'm not going to tell you what to do. Obviously, me not telling you what to do is what comes up with cool shit. So what would you do? I mean, we have the Dalai Lama. We have Buddha. What are you going to do? Like, probably like Jesus or something? And I was like, better. And I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that on a podcast, but Chuck motherfucking Norris. With 2 gold-plated AK-47s, Chuck Norris, the Dalai Lama, and I lost my place again. But CT Ace, what was I talking about? And Adam. Okay, so me and Ace, late night, we call it going into outer space because me and him, he is a night owl, and he will stay up all night and work. I mean, I'm talking about the hardest worker you've ever seen, but all night, and then he sleeps all day. So it was a bit of an adjustment when we were kind of living together, and we got into this conversation one time about CT, and I was like, yeah, man, like on the show, you know, he comes here and he hangs out in Atlanta, and he's just chill, and everybody's cool all the time. But then when we get on the show, like I have to figure out the line between like when me and him are boys and when he's doing his part to play his part. And he's like, dude, Adam had every right. He's like, on my season, CT literally, just to be a bully, put a beer above his head, above Adam's head, and was like, you're not going to do anything about this when I do this. And he turned it upside down and poured it on his head just to prove he was a bigger man and on national TV. And Adam, which I don't know if a lot of people know this, but what's the singer's name? Not the Temptations, the Richie. Who's the famous guy with the Jerry curls? Richie, the singer. Ooh. Lionel Richie. Yes, Lionel Richie. You know that's Adam's godfather?
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Not only is that Adam's godfather, but Adam's father was in the Temptations. And, you know, Papa was a Rolling Stone. No, that wasn't it. No, it was, what was the, I got to stop asking other people questions, start learning stuff for myself. But either way, Brick House. So I know we're going off on a lot of side notes, and I know you've said over almost 14 words this whole time, but listen. So she's a brick. Ow. So Adam's dad was in the Temptations, and they had real hit records that were real hot and real awesome for a second. And then they went through a little bit of a lull where the record company was like, hey, you know, we supported you, but now we need a hot fire track. Like, we need something. And so this is from him telling me, and I'm probably doing it not justice in third-party communications, but his dad got really stressed about it. And he was like, we're going to, you know, go from stardom to back to nothing because we need to keep producing top 40 hits. And one night, the night before they had like this deadline to come up with the new hottest track, he just sat there with a bottle of whiskey and passed out in his chair. And he woke up to Brick House written out on a piece of paper on his like little thing next to his chair. His wife wrote it. So She's a Brick, one of the most memorable songs of all time, was written by his dad's wife because she just needed, I mean, obviously she was an incredibly intelligent and creative woman, and she needed to help him out, and he couldn't help himself at that time. So I don't know if I just divulged too much personal information about Adam, but it was only meant in a good way. That being said, CT was a dick to Adam. Like, he picked on him. And I mean, I'm trying to dance a thin line here because, yes, I don't want to talk shit, but also by not talking shit, am I giving him, I don't, either way, he was really mean to Adam, and Adam had been embarrassed publicly with his family on national television for no reason for a number of years. So you could understand why he took a Diet Coke, which, by the way, I love Diet Coke, and he smashed CT in the face with it. Now, after he did that, I was like, uh-oh, you can't, this is not going to end bad or end good. So CT then took his shirt off, as any grown male does when you start a fight. You first have to remove your shirt because that's essential to your tactics and your strength. And he chased them around. And the funniest part of it, when I actually got to watch some behind the scenes footage and I watched the shit they should have shown, the funniest part of the whole thing was this happened on a Halloween night. That it was actually Halloween, but they said it was someone's birthday because we film and then we release it months and months later. So they don't want to have the timeline in it. So instead of Halloween, which I brought 2 suitcases of costumes because I knew it was going to be Halloween. And Big Easy makes fun of me all the time. He's like, this motherfucker gets off a plane. He doesn't know if we're going to have to trek 10 miles through the desert with our luggage. And he felt it impertinent to bring big funny noses and like 2 cases of costumes. Isaac thinks the costumes are important, and he brought a white t-shirt and camo shorts to wear the entire 3 months. But we get out there, everyone's in costume, everyone's dressed up, and Adam was like, dude, I'm done. Like, I'm gonna hit him. And I was like, I mean, honestly, if you feel that way, like, maybe you should. But if you hit CT, you have to knock him out in the first hit. You have to. Because if you leave that man awake, he's going to rape you. Like, he's going to fuck your whole world up on national TV. And so he's like, okay, so I guess the most vicious weapon he could find in the house was a Diet Coke can. I shouldn't be laughing about this. But he hit him in the nose. CT got hit. And then he looked up, and I was like, oh, boy. Adam's going to die today. And then CT took it to the next level. And I'm talking about he tried to kill him. It was vicious. It was fucked up. Like, and MTV there's been some behind the scenes talks about they didn't have anyone as far as security, which is not cool. They didn't have all they had was a producer, Troy, which I call Troy George for my own reasons, but he wasn't fit to stop CT. Every other dude was like, what's going on? And I thought in my head, because this was a Halloween party, everyone was partying and having a good time. In my head, I really thought I was doing everything I could to stop this fight, right? I was like, I single-handedly crushed it. I killed it. I kept Adam safe. I kept CT from Adam because I'm friends with CT. I watched it on television, and I was like, Isaac, you are an absolute useless human being. Absolutely. Like, I was dressed, I'm not even going to say my costume because of the current political climate, but it was offensive. And I was literally doing this. Like, I opened the door at one point, I shut the door, and in my head, I was doing something to help. I wasn't helping. CT not only beat the shit out of Adam, but outside of the house by like the garage area, there was slate rock wall that was, I'm talking about, stacked rigid rocks. The whole wall was made out of these sharp stacked rigid rocks. CT grabbed Adam's head from the back and just went and just kept just slamming his face in this rigid, sharp rock wall. until everyone that was watching was like, oh my God, this has turned into a silly little fist fight to look masculine into you actually are going to kill this guy. Like, he's going to die. Adam's face was just razor cut up. He had to go immediately to the hospital. CT had to go immediately to the airport, like, and go home. And MTV's like, whoa, maybe we should start hiring like a security staff because we have grown men steroided up, drinking in a house and competing with each other to see who can kill each other. And we never thought of the whole security aspect. And I was like, yeah, maybe. Sorry, what
Maybe. No, you're good.
And like everybody, Brad was there. Brad's an amazing guy. I was like, at the time, I was kind of a ripped up 5'11" and 9/10. And I was the smallest person there at 215 pounds. And everyone was like, yeah, we can all jump in if we want to, but how do you, and eventually Brad and Mark Long are the ones that subdued CT, but it could have easily been a murder scene, 100%.
Yeah,
Great.
so now I guess we'll leave that topic and get into the next one now, since we kind of dove in pretty deep on that one. So
Sorry.
Talk to me.
Well, sorry and you're welcome, all in the same sentence.
No, you're fine. I'm just joking. So a topic that isn't really talked about as much. Landon cut your toenail on Duel 2, and then you called him into elimination.
I out Google. That was not. All right, so here's the deal. You're not gonna like this answer, but the challenges are, for the most part, at least when I was doing them, they're politically negotiated before they ever happen. We know who the winner is before it's even filmed. We talk in the airport. We say, all right. The deal is, it's a $300,000 pot. If we let him win, he's going to divvy up that $300,000. I'll get 15. I'll throw a challenge. He'll get 20. He'll get 30. He'll throw a challenge. And that's how it really works out in real life. Nobody wants to talk about it. But I wasn't in the in crowd on my first challenge, which was with Landon in Uruguay. You probably know better than me.
New Zealand.
Was Landon on the Duel too? I thought
that was the Duel 2. Yeah.
All right. Well, exactly. You know better than me. So, Landon, I like Landon. He doesn't like me very much, but for some reason, I was 20 something, and for some reason, I was obsessed with growing out my big toenails, and I fell asleep one night, and Landon thought it was a funny prank to cut off my toenail. And Landon was like picked to be the winner. And the mother effer was, he's an athlete. He used to go behind our house and sprint up the mountain and back and time himself. And I was like, dude, I'm not even leaving the couch. And this dude's sprinting up mountains. So he was a triathlete. He was just a Calvin Klein underwear model. The man was what a man's supposed to be. And nobody was looking forward to challenging Landon. But I woke up and my toenail was gone. And they were like, yeah, everybody got drunk last night and Landon thought it was funny to cut your toenail off. And I was like, not today. Not today. And I called him out and I was like, hey, I got picked to go on the challenge. They're like, pick who you want to go into the challenge with. And I could have picked Big Easy, who had a fucking heart attack on that season because he was fat. Love you, Big Easy. But you were fat and you had a heart attack, okay? That's not my fault. And they were like, pick anyone. There was so many people that I could have murdered. And I picked Landon. And then in the interview, which I could have done better, obviously, always. I could have done better. But in the interview, they're like, why did you pick Landon? Was it an ego thing? Was it a television thing? I was like, that motherfucker cut my toenail. And they're like, but seriously, though, why'd you pick Landon? And I was like, seriously, though, I've been growing that fucking toenail for like 4 months. And they're like, you're not, no. And I was like, yeah, fuck him. I lost, but if I would have beat him, it would have made up for everything. And you don't creep up on me and cut my big toenail in the middle of the night over there in New Zealand. That is not how we play this game. And everyone thought I was a crazy person, but I guess it's because...
Hey, it's not bad. You went out against, what many would believe to be either one of the greatest or, maybe even the greatest challengers to ever do it. So
he's second.
One way to go out,
He's second behind me. And TJ Lavin was the host. And we did the final ceremony. And, after me and Landon, we went up against this puzzle thing that I thought I could beat him at, but the man's half monkey, and he beat me real bad. Not real bad in real time. I lost a little bit, but he still beat me. And TJ Lavin, he said, for like the final scene, he's like, well, Isaac, I guess that'll teach you a lesson to call out the biggest, baddest man here. And I told TJ Lavin, fuck you. I was like, you just yelled at somebody else for not being brave enough and calling out a weaker person on this show. You just said that last elimination, and now you're giving me shit for calling out who everyone thinks is king in this thing? Like, I'm the bad guy? And then they stopped filming, and they reshot the whole final scene, and TJ Lavin was like, Isaac, you aimed high, and I respect you for aiming high, and blah, 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 and you didn't win this time, but maybe next time, love you, have a good day. And I was like, yeah, exactly.
But talk to me now about
Are you from Boston?
Maine? No.
New York?
Towards like the New York type area, New Jersey.
No,
Talk to me. What many people still talk about to this day, the whole Battle of the Seasons incident when you guys were, at the airport and they kicked you out.
Dude.
And, talk to me about that story a little bit and maybe a theory as to what you really feel, was the reasoning and how you felt that you guys would have done had you competed.
We were not told anything on the. We were in Turkey, Battle of the Seasons. I said before that, the challengers kind of talk about the outcome of the season beforehand. And we literally were in the airport. And at that time, I was practicing for a jiu-jitsu championship. An amateur, but still championship. I don't care if it's amateur. It's still a championship. And I was at my physical peak. I was 215 pounds, ripped to shreds. It was me. Dunbar was in amazing shape. Kellyanne, obviously, Ashley, like those two chicks were just fit out of the get. And Evan came up to Dunbar in the airport, and he goes, listen, everybody's team has a couple, one or two good people and one or two sloppies. And you guys are solid. So what do you think about you guys win this thing? We give them, Evan's team, 50 grand, and we give other people different amounts of money. And Dunbar went, yup. Like, we'll win this thing for sure. And I didn't even know this at the time. And then we went. MTV didn't have their stuff together whatsoever. We literally landed in Turkey, and we spent 24 hours trying to get from the airport to our hotel. And then we were, like, laying on the ground at this Turkish restaurant, like, laying outside on the concrete. No one knew what was happening. We had just traveled across the world, so we're a little tired, and we just wanted to go to the house. And MTV had no answers except for just wait, just wait, just wait, just wait, just wait. So we waited, and then finally everyone got in the van and went to the house, and they kept our team off of it. And they said nothing, really. And we went to the hotel, and we were with, I'm not going to say his name, but he was the head producer at the time. And they brought us all in a room, and they said, this is the battle of the season, so we have to have 4 cast members for, the team, and one of your team members was not able to make the cut. And now keep in mind that 3 months prior, everyone got individual health checks. We all went to the doctor's office and got really rigorous health tests, drug tests, all these different tests in order to be on this season, and we were verified. And now they said, one of you didn't pass the health test. Kellyanne immediately started crying because she has, I don't know what it's called, but it's some kind of a birth defect where her heart, she gets heart murmurs, and it's a problem. And she thought it was her fault for getting our whole team kicked off because of her heart murmurs. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about, because I'm training for this jiu-jitsu tournament. I'm the strongest I've ever been. I have 0 body fat. I'm, physically in the best shape I could ever be. I'm eating chicken breast and, air at that point. And then they bring us all in a back room and tell us individually what's the problem. And this producer says, Isaac, you're the problem. And I was like, why? And they're like, well, I can't divulge that information to you because, legally MTV is not allowed to divulge medical information. I was like, it's my medical information. You can't tell me how I'm dying. You just have to fly me out to a random country and then just let me chill in a hotel and scare the shit out of everybody, eliminate my entire team, but you're not allowed to tell me what my medical problem is. Literally, am I dying? Legally, we can't tell you that. And I was like, this is bullshit. So we hung out in Turkey for a while. Me and Dunbar went to some underground establishments that possibly could have been sex trafficking. We left, obviously. We were not into sex trafficking, but then I went home and I went back to the doctor. I drove to the doctor that I got my health check from. And I was like, MTV kicked me out of Turkey because they said there was something wrong with me. They wouldn't tell me what it is at all. Not even at all. What's wrong with my health check? You have to tell me I paid you. This is a doctor's visit. And the nurse, who was a fairly attractive nurse, I'm not going to lie to you, she literally looked at me and went, honestly, we put you on that treadmill with the face mask. I've never seen anybody run so long and so hard as you did. How much you want to bet me? The black nurse. I know. And she was like, I watched you run on that treadmill. I've never seen anyone run as long or as hard on a treadmill as you did. She's like, there was nothing wrong with your health examination. So to answer your question, no. I don't know why they replaced me with Big Easy, who literally had a heart attack, a fucking heart attack on the beach. He had a heart attack on the beach and almost died out of unphysical fitness. And I was in the best shape of my life. So no, I don't know why they did that.
Do you think it played a part in, like, maybe, they figured by adding, Camilla and Cara, like, because they were on the fresh meat team, do you think it was all, potentially a hoax and that they just wanted to get those two on the season?
Maybe. I don't know. I think everything in reality TV is a hoax. Like, that is what they do. They are not out there because they feel a personal connection with you learning a new character. Like, it's a money game. Like everything they do in reality TV is what they think will get the best. So maybe I haven't really even thought about it until now, but maybe they heard our microphones or something, and they realized that Dunbar and Evan have already made a decision and a discussion that we know who the winners are going to be. So it's not going to be this, up and down, ebb and flow season of back and forth, and it's just going to ruin TV. I don't know. But the fact is, we got kicked off, and even the doctor, I talked to the doctor and the nurse that said I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't fail any single exam, and MTV couldn't tell me pinpoint blank what was the problem. So I'm still pissed about it to this day. Dunbar's pissed about it because he pretty much took out a mortgage or something because he thought we were gonna, win over $100,000 each, and I don't know. I don't know what their deal is, but there's a lot. I'm not supposed to talk about it, but at this point in my life, I don't really care. You want to hear a real fun story?
Sure, shoot.
I don't know if I should go there, but somebody got raped with a toothbrush.
Well, if it's what I think you're talking about, I think it's.
And they had a back deal settlement on why they shouldn't go to court, but it was 100% rape in front of 100% of people with 100% of no security. Still, almost 6 or 7 years later, after I brought up the security issue, and some people took someone's toothbrush and put it inside of a girl who was dead asleep. And to me, that is 100% sexual assault. And it's not okay in any circumstance. I don't care how funny it is. You don't insert something in someone that's asleep. But they paid it away. MTV did. But they don't like it when people talk about it. But I'm not talking about it.
Right. So we'll leave it at that and get to my next topic, which was I read somewhere that you knew, correct me if I'm wrong, the kill card. Which one, which wasn't the kill card or which one was?
I did know. Right.
So what made you not choose that during the Johnny elimination?
Well, no. What happened was, and I could be incorrect. I'd like to preface everything I say with I don't really know what I'm talking about, but there was kill cards. Mm-hmm. And I went, and this is what made Zack hate me so much, by the way, is he realized I knew what the kill cards were. And I knew what they were because I'm an artist and I'm a craftsman, and I could see that each of the pieces of wood that they flip over one of them was a kill card. So I just started memorizing what the kill cards were. But my dumbass talked about it with Cohutta while my mic was on and said they made new kill cards. And that the new kill cards looked like the old kill cards. And so me and Cohutta, if you can't really see it, but you can kind of see it, I'm talking to him like, dude, the fucking thing looks just like the thing. It's not exact, but it looks just like the other one. Like, and he's like, do not pick that one. But he didn't say it loud. And I was like, which one? And I picked the one he told me not to pick because I misunderstood what he was saying. And I picked the kill card, like, immediately. And it was so stupid, but, give it up for MTV for having microphones on me and me not realizing I had a microphone on me. But right. I went, Johnny, and me and Johnny, first of all, I love Johnny Bananas, and that's another example of someone that's awesome in real life. And he's cool on TV, but he plays the bad guy. He plays the dick a lot of times. But he is awesome in real life. And me and him, one of the first nights when we were partying in the house, got into a wrestling match, and I decided this is not someone I want to wrestle again. Because he's a solid piece of fucking rock. Like, I jumped at him. He got pissed off because I peed on him in the shower. We have a multi-dude shower in the house, and I thought it was funny that I peed on the back of his leg, and he didn't think it was that funny, and we started wrestling, and very shortly into us wrestling, I was like, God bless. Every inch of this dude is solid. Like, I can't. So that's the last man in the house I would have chosen to fight. But I picked the wrong card. I had to fight him, and honestly, he's Johnny Bananas. He deserves to win. I'm Isaac Stout. I deserve to backpack through Uruguay.
Now, you've mentioned Zack a few times. What is your thoughts on Zack? Because he's actually come up a ton in this podcast that I've done with various cast members.
Well, on the challenge, they used to call Zack the I'm not going to remember it. They called him Goliath because he's like 6'6". I'm talking about he's a exercise instructor, whatever that means. But that man is a chiseled, strong ass 6'6" man. He looks like Goliath. He's hard to deal with. If it's me and Zack in any kind of physical competition, I'm not going to be boisterous about this. He'd probably win on most everything. And here's another thing about the challenges that's not fair, is that the dudes always have to compete against dudes. The girls have to compete against girls. But it's not really fair because the girls they vary in height about 3 inches, and they vary in weight about 15 pounds. The guys, Zack is 1.5 feet taller than me, and he's 100 pounds more than me. That's not fair.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, it's about the dudes, really. And the guys are the ones that make the challenge. And I'm not really sure what we're talking about. But Zack, yeah, he's a fucking brick house. Just full circle.
Mm-hmm. Now, what about the present for Cohutta? That they talked about it at the reunion that you gave to Cohutta when you,
I think
froze.
at this point in the podcast, I think we both know that my sense of humor it's a tinge bit, out of line. And Cohutta knows that, and that's why we're good friends. He knows that, sometimes being inappropriate and being funny is more important than being socially responsible. So, yeah, I gave him a bag of shit for his birthday, but he loved it, and he understood me, so he knew that that's how Isaac expresses his love.
So now, were there any other close calls for you in terms of, almost doing a challenge after the one that you last did on Free Agents? Speak your piece on it.
So
talk to me about what you're doing.
It's my understanding that you were the interviewer and I was the interviewee. So asking questions was your job.
So talk to me a little bit about what you're up to with that traveling and how it kind of works.
All right. So all right. Well, actually, it relates to the real world. You care if I rip a cig?
No, you're fine.
All right. So she hates me. So here's the deal. When I was on the real world, it relates. Oh shit! I already had it. Well, you could see that we were on Real World Sydney, and our job was to be travel host for Contiki Travel, right? Yes.
Yeah.
So Contiki Travel is a worldwide travel company, and they're awesome, and I love Contiki, and they're the best. But personally, as you can tell by my sense of humor and my personality in general, I'm not really the most cookie cutter type of person in the world. So our job on the Real World was to create an itinerary for Sydney. That was our job. And I was like, okay. And we had a couple teams, and I was on one team, and the other people were on one team, and we did it. And I won, Avi. And I came up with the best itinerary for Sydney, Australia in our season. And the president of Contiki Travel said, Isaac is super cool. Isaac is very good at tourism. And I'm a born traveler. That's all I do. I just travel. I like it. I don't know why, but I love it. So I got hired by Contiki and a couple other travel companies after the fact to write itineraries, to research stuff. I'm just good at travel. And I remember being on a tour at one point, and the kids, I call them kids, they're just a little bit younger than me, but they're like, we would do the whole day tour, and I'm like, oh, look at the museums, and look at the statues, and this was 1940, and blah, 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 stuff that I didn't care about. And they're like, what'd you do last night? And I'm like, oh my God. So between me and you, last night, I did this, 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 and this. And they're like, what the fuck? Like, we paid all this money to come on this vacation, and we're doing the museum and building tour, and you're going out at night and doing these awesome things. And I was like, no, I didn't invent Kentucky. I just worked for them. And they're like, can we do your thing? And I was like, well, maybe the thing that makes me the most happiest is traveling and investigating underground, off the beaten path travel. And maybe there's other people that are just as crazy as me that like to travel like that. And now, with this millennial Instagram generation, it's solidified. So I started the Bucket List Club, and I started the first ever, only travel company that does bucket lists. And I'm sorry for smoking on camera. I'm sure you have to talk about it.
Nah, you're fine.
I know I am. But the thing is that you have to, when I watch a TV show, they say, there's smoking in this show. There is people with possible mental disabilities in this show. And I'm like, well, I have to tell the host of my podcast that beforehand, before, I do that. But the Bucket List Club goes to the coolest events, the most awe-inspiring, amazing things on the planet, when and where they happen. So we go to Oktoberfest in Munich. We go to the Full Moon Party, Thailand. We go to every single month we go to, quit cigarettes. That's gross. But we go to everything on the planet. Mexican Day of the Dead in Mexico City. Like, we do the coolest stuff on the planet when and where it happens. That's what we do. And people are always like, that's crazy. Like, you can't do that. And I'm like, yes, we can. But we're not your grandfather's travel company. We are two young entrepreneurs that not only do these events, but if the event is Mexican Day of the Dead, then we also dress like, everyone dresses like Prince the day before, and we sing Purple Rain. Why? I don't know. Why not? You know, we do cool stuff, and we do the coolest things on the planet. On the planet for existence. How many, people can say that? And then outside of that, we do it with the most wonderful, unique, intelligent people on the planet. The Bucket List Club is a club of people. We're not a travel company. We're a club that are made up of people that are IT people. They are lawyers. They are bartenders. They are strippers. They are like this unique collage of insanely interesting people doing the coolest stuff on the planet when and where it happens around the world.
Wow, it can't get any better than that, man. You
That's
see a lot of people.
no one
Yeah.
really believes me, but
You
I'm
get
like,
a lot of people after the show that are either working like 9 to 5s or like, just bumbling around with themselves. But at least you're doing something that's, worthwhile for yourself, and it's, helping you out in the long run. You know what I mean?
I'm trying to tell you, I could not create or think up a better life for myself than what I have. But the problem is, with the COVID, obviously screwed us over. But there's two types of people that deal with COVID that I've heard of. And you would think that as a young entrepreneur, I would be struck the hardest with COVID because, I have a travel company with another young man, and this has to just devastate us. But the two different types of people that are dealing with COVID are, one, I'm going to sit on the couch and I'm going to deal with it and blah, 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 and get through it. And there are people that went back to the drawing board and said, all right, well, our company is affected. So we need to redigest it, and we need to figure out how to solve it. And that's what me and my partner, Jay, did. And we came up with 3 new trips for the end of this year that are, I don't even know how to explain it, but there are certain people that this will be the best experience of your life. And there are certain people that will be like, that's a horrible, offensive idea. You should not have done that whatsoever. But we're traveling the Southwest. We're going on kind of a National Lampoon's Vacation through the Southwest. We're stopping in, and this is just America, stopping in hippie communities that have been off the grid for decades. We're doing Vegas. We're doing Tijuana in the same trip. Then we have a trip to Mexico, which is my favorite trip of the year because we hang out with a Mexican family. We do Day of the Dead. We go to a cemetery where in America they're like, oh, a cemetery is a way to celebrate people's life and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, bullshit. Everyone's still dressed in black and everyone's still crying and blah, blah, blah. When you actually go to Mexico, you have 77-year-old women that hand you a bottle of tequila and go, drink this shit, puss. In Mexico, and everyone's turned up. Like, there are fires, there are parties, there are fun stuff, and that's how you celebrate the actual dead. And then on New Year's, we're going to Bali.
Wow.
And we're gonna do yoga at 5 o'clock in the morning with yoga instructors but the beach happens to be black sand. And if you look out at 5 o'clock in the morning, there happens to be dolphins jumping up and down in the water. That's a cool thing to do. You know, we're seeing bioluminescence, glowing organisms. That's all we do is bucket list club stuff. And the people that are normal travelers that are on Instagram, they're like, what's up, Cancun? Cancun, snap, snap, snap. Those people never get on the trip because you're only allowed to come on our trips if you are a bucket list club member. And if someone watches this podcast and goes, you know what, Isaac seems like a bit of a lunatic, and I don't like what he's saying, that's fine.
Do you have any information you want me to drop for the people to where they could check this thing out?
Yeah, but I feel like I gave a forewarning on who we are and what we do. So if you don't have an open heart and an open mind, do not apply. But if you do and you want to engage and grow your life to be something better than it is, if you not just make your life better, but if you want to make your life kind of jump started, then go to www. Oh my God, did that not sound like such a used car salesman? www.bucketlistclub.earth, not .com, because me and .com have our own problems, but .earth, and just read the stuff, look at it. If it's who you are, then we have a whole bunch of people that are extremely intelligent, creative, and off their fucking rocker that you can join. And we do literally the coolest stuff in the world when and where it happens. And if you look at me and you listen to this podcast and you say, that guy's out of his mind, then don't apply. And
I appreciate you coming on here, man. I'll put the link to your thing in the description for the video, and I hope you enjoyed and had fun doing this as well.
Oh, I had a blast, man. Thank you for having me.
Well, I hope you're staying safe, man, and take care.
I'm not. Bye.
Bye.